What is going on, YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank you all so much for joining myself and Dustin for this being
Yeah,
our review for 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Season 8. This is episode 19. Finally, we've gotten to the season finale. Oh my gosh, it's been
yes.
such a long season. But before we get to the review, got a couple things to say really quickly. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big white subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. Takes less than a second to mash that thing. So go ahead and mash it for a brother. Also, be sure to leave a thumbs up for this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the various couples that we'll be discussing for tonight's finale review. Also, be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And last but not least, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. Quick announcement, I will be releasing my reviews for the Real Housewives of Atlanta tomorrow, as well as my review for the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18. So be on the lookout for those two videos coming out tomorrow. If both of them are not out by tomorrow, they should both be out by Wednesday at the latest. So be on the lookout for those videos. Dustin, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I just got some breaking news that Tim Cook is stepping down as an Apple CEO immediately.
Wow.
So he's stepping down September 1st, the last day of September 1st. So yeah, so let's listen to the article backstage. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
All right. So we do have a couple of comments in the chat. So let's get to those. Lady Virgo says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to
Good
you, Lady
evening.
Virgo. So glad that you're here with us tonight. She says to JoJo Speaks and Dustin Butler, hello, happy Monday, fellas. And then she also says, let's see, to Auntie Robin, hey, Robin, happy Monday. All right. And then we have a new commenter. Stinky N5963. Send me the link. I'm sorry. So with the fact that I don't know who you are, I don't feel comfortable sending out the link, but I hope you do enjoy our review. I do hope you at least enjoy our review. And kind of go back and forth with us with your comments as we go through these couples.
Mhm.
Okay. Alrighty, so let's get to this review. So
Yeah.
we've got, let's start out with, who do I want to start out with?
Mhm.
I think I'll start out with Rick and Trisha. So with Rick and Trisha, Rick is on his way to the airport to get back home. He's not expecting to see Trisha at the airport, but she shows up. He gets very emotional. They embrace, and she said that she wanted to give something back to him. I can't remember exactly what she gave back to him, but she gave something back to him that he had given her. She said in the confessionals that she's not expecting him to say that he loves her and that he's going to block his ex-girlfriend from Colombia. And, she's not expecting any of those types of things to happen for her going to the airport to see him off. But, I guess she just wanted to see him one more time. And I get that. When you're in love, you know what I'm saying, before someone leaves, and they're going to another country, of course you'd want to see them one more time. So I don't blame Trisha at all for making that decision. So Rick says that, he's still not going to block his ex-girlfriend from his social medias. Again, I don't understand why he's made that decision if he loves Trisha so much. But I mean, players are
Well,
players.
I think they have two kids together. So
He has kids with his ex-girlfriend.
yes.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. I did not know that because he didn't mention that during the
Mhm.
show. So I wasn't sure about that. But at the same time, because I feel like if Trisha knew that she was the mother of two of his kids, then she wouldn't have asked him
He
to
he
block
he's a
her.
he's a very private person. He's got to post it on his he got to post it on some website, but he didn't say it on the show.
Okay. So yeah, that just confuses the hell out of me because, if that's the mother of two of your children, then that would make more sense for you to be in contact with her because, she's got to, keep you informed of what's going on with the kids and things of that
He
nature.
said
But
it. He said it. He said it at the very beginning of the program.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I guess I must have missed that. But, with Trisha, being unhappy with the fact that he refuses to block his ex-girlfriend on all social media platforms, she doesn't have too many high hopes for their relationship. However, Rick says, well, why don't you just don't say, we can't get back together. Just leave the door open for us to possibly, somewhere on down the line, to be able to reconnect, continue to talk to me and all this good stuff. And Trisha agrees to take that stance with their relationship. I was shocked that Trisha agreed with that, with the way that she reacted to him getting and sending text messages to his ex-girlfriend while they were at the airport trying to get back to where she lived. I felt like she would never be on the show again, but here she is. So Dustin, were you surprised that she was at the airport to greet him as he left?
I
And what
was
are your
surprised
thoughts
to
on
see
Rick
her.
wanting them to keep the door open for a possible relationship down the line?
I was surprised to see her on the show again. I didn't even expect her to be on at the airport. To be honest,
Mhm.
um, I don't know what the future holds for this couple, but I hope and pray for the best. Hmm.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's all we got for Rick and Trisha. I liked Rick for the most part during this season. I did enjoy his personality. I enjoyed the way he talked and how he moved and all that good stuff. But he's just a player, and that
Right.
is never ever a good thing. So let's
Hmm.
move on to Jovan and Anna Lynn. So Jovan decided to stay in the Philippines a little bit longer to extend his stay with Annalyn. And they seem to be on good terms, which I was very happy to see. I was happy to see that, they weren't arguing, they weren't at each other's throats. She wasn't tearing him down. He wasn't, bringing up the fact that he does so much for her and all this good stuff. Um, so it was nice to see them in a good space. It was really nice to see them in a good space. Then Anna Lynn says that she's been nauseous and she's having pregnancy symptoms and she wants to find out that she's pregnant. Turns out Anna Lynn is pregnant.
Hmm.
Also, we saw in the preview for the tell-all that Trisha is also pregnant. But we'll get to that when we get to the tell-all review next week.
Next week.
But yeah, Annalyn is pregnant. And I was really shocked by Jovan's reaction because I thought that, maybe they must have talked about this off camera, the fact that, what if we end up getting pregnant? What are we going to do? So I don't know if they've had this discussion, but Jovan seems to be happy about the fact that Annalyn is pregnant. And if Jovan is happy, then so am I. Annalyn does say that she's a little bit worried because of the fact that, he won't be with her while she's in the midst of her pregnancy. He's going to miss appointments, doctor's appointments, and checkups, and things of that nature. So she's not feeling the best about their situation, and being pregnant and your partner being in a whole nother country, that's not that's not ideal for anyone. So I can understand why she has those reservations concerning their current situation, but they both say that they're going to try to work it out and work it out the best way that they can. I do believe that Jovan is going to do the best that he can to make it so that everything works out the best way possible for both of them. I do have that faith in Jovan, and I'm hoping that they have a smooth part in the tell-all. I have a feeling that they might have the least amount of drama compared to
Mm,
all the things that I saw in the preview for the tell-all. So, and I have a feeling,
mm.
judging from the tell-all preview, that I'm not going to like it at all. But
And
once again,
I'm just gonna go ahead and say I don't like I don't like the I'm not really too happy about the host of the tell to be honest. Mm.
it's Sean Robinson again, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not too happy about that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Mm.
But that's who they got, so that's
Yeah,
who we're
I know.
stuck with.
I'm just saying.
But
This is my opinion.
yeah, absolutely. And your opinion is absolutely valid, Dustin, for sure. Because like I said, when I first started reviewing 90 Day Fiance, I didn't necessarily care for her hosting style. She didn't seem to have control over the panel. She seemed to be just being asking questions. Like, I compare Sean Robinson hosting these tell-alls to Andy Cohen hosting the Real Housewives reunions. Like, he gets involved in the discussion, in the conversation. And whereas Sean Robinson seems to just be reading questions off of a card and just calling it a day. So, it is what
Andy
it is.
Cohen's a
But
lot better host.
right,
I'll give you
absolutely,
that. I'll give
I
you
would
that.
agree. I would agree with that for sure, Dustin, for sure. But once again, Annalyn and Jovan seem to be in a good space. He gets to the airport. He's about to go back home. Annalyn is a little bit emotional, but once again, they seem to be in a good place. And Annalyn actually took accountability for her mouth. She took accountability for the fact that she is a firecracker, that she can be a little bit reckless with her words. And I really, really, really enjoyed the fact that she at least understands how she can come off, especially to her husband, who is Jovan. So, Dustin, were you surprised that Anna Lynn said that she was pregnant? I mean, we saw it in the preview last week that it seemed like that was the case. And do
I
you
wasn't.
have faith that they'll be able to work it out in the future?
I hope so, for their kids' sake. But
Right,
I hope for the because when you have a kid, it changes the whole situation.
right,
Um, it's not just yourself, but it's you also have a child inside of you, and you also have a child that you have to raise for the next 18 years. Um,
right.
you know, it really changes when you have a kid, and it makes it really change the whole situation. So they might realize that there's some differences when I don't know. I hope for the best, but like I say, anything can
And
happen.
and were you surprised when it was revealed that Annalyn was pregnant? Because I was shocked.
I was really surprised. I was hoping it would be negative
I
because
was hoping to say.
I don't think I just don't think she's ready.
I don't think she's ready either. But hopefully they can try to get things together before the baby comes along. And I'm sure, judging when they filmed it, they probably filmed it last year. So I'm assuming that the baby's already here. But we'll see what
They
happens when
filmed
we
it
get.
last year.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we'll see what happens during the tell-all. So let's move forward to Forrest and Sheena. So Forrest is on his way to the airport. He's going to be leaving. Sheena has come to the conclusion that Forrest is not going to stay with her, although she wants him to stay with all of her heart. And it is just a little bit heartbreaking when she wants him to stay. And I get why she wants him to stay. She wants to be with him all the time, and I get that. I really do. It's just that with the current situation that they're in, especially financially, that's not going to be a good idea for him to stay in the Philippines. But they get to the airport, and surprisingly, Forrest's mom is very kind to Sheena when she hugs her before they leave. And
Mhm.
that was surprising
Okay.
to me because Forrest's mother seemed to have so much vitriol towards Sheena this entire season, even though
Mhm.
when they greeted each other at the airport when they first got to the Philippines at the beginning of the season, she was very sweet and kind to her. And that
Mhm.
lasted for maybe about half of the episode until they actually sat down for dinner. And, she started, running off these questions to her about her lies and things of that nature. But anyways, I thought it was very sweet that Forrest's mother was so kind to her at the airport. And Forrest gives her his cowboy hat. He says that he wants her to wear it every single day. I'm not sure if Sheena's going to actually do that, and I don't know why he asked her to wear it every day. But he said that hat is a representation of his promise that he will come back to the Philippines for her, which I thought was very sweet. Um, I will say that, Sheena's crying has been an issue for me this entire season.
Me
Initially, I
too.
didn't have, much issue with it when they first got to the Philippines on the first episode. Well, not the first episode, but at the beginning of the season. But as time has gone on, I've noticed that Sheena has been able to start crying at the drop of a dime. So I know that I have a great feeling that these tears were genuine. I'm pretty sure that she was extremely emotional about the fact that Forrest was going to leave, and it might be a while before he saw her, before she saw him again. So I do understand that, but as I've kind of become a little annoyed by her crying, leading up to this episode. So I sort of kind of felt bad for feeling like, what, is she crying again? But then I have to understand, well, he's about to leave, so it is what it is. But anyway, so Dustin, what were your thoughts on Sheena and Forrest's parting ways on this episode? I think
Yeah.
they'll be able to survive. I think that they have the love that is going to be able to see them through to whatever
Mhm.
future works out the best for them. What are your thoughts on the future for Sheena and Forrest?
I think it's very bright, but there's one thing that I don't know about, and that's his mother. His
Hmm.
mother is his mother is very controlling, in the relationship, in my opinion. I I don't know. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know if you feel the same way or not, but that's okay. But I just think that she's very controlling, and I think that the only thing that I see causing issue in the relationship is for his mother. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We got Auntie Robin in the building.
And the Robin.
Hey, Auntie Robin. Auntie Robin says, "What's up, y'all? The time change has me twisted. It's so bright and sunny, but I am here now. We're so glad that you are here, Auntie Robin. We've already talked about Annalyn and Jovan, the fact that Annalyn is pregnant, and they were both very happy about that. And we've also talked about Forrest and Sheena. I talked about the fact that I was a little annoyed by her crying initially, but then I had to remember, these tears might actually be real tears here. So, it is what it is. But let's move on to Birkan and Laura. So this shocked the heck out of me. So Birkan and Laura, they go out to play soccer. A love of Birkan's since he was a child, and something that he did that was somewhat lucrative for him until he got injured and was not able to play again. But they do a little bit of soccer playing. Beer Khan rates Laura's soccer playing on a scale from 1 to 5, a 0, which is not surprising to me. I mean, she doesn't seem to be that athletic of a type, but it is what it is. She did her best. Then Beer Khan pulls out the string and he asks her for her ring finger. And she pulls out her left hand and he ties the string around her finger and asks her to marry him, which I was shocked at.
Mm-hmm.
And this proposal and everything that happened afterwards, them meeting up with Michael and Laura being on the same flight. Laura, goes on to say that she doesn't think that she and Michael can have the same friendship that they've had in the past, whereas they would cuddle, they would watch TV late at night, they would do things that people in relationships would typically do, which, I'm not surprised that was the nature of their friendship at all. Auntie Robin's got another comment down here. Auntie Robin says, Sheena and Rick are in a race to see who can cry the quickest and the best. Yeah, Rick was crying quite a bit on this episode. I was shocked that he was crying when he saw Trisha at the airport, but maybe that means that he really does care for her. But at the same time, if you care for her, then why don't you do what she asks you to do? Now, Dustin did reveal a little bit earlier in this review, Auntie Robin, that this ex-girlfriend from Colombia is supposedly the mother of his 2 children. I'm assuming that's the 2 youngest children, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So I guess that throws a wrench in the whole thing. But my thing is, like, if that's the mother of your children, then why don't you just tell Trisha and tell her that's the reason why we're in communication? But those text messages were not about the kids. Those text messages were about Rick saying that the best times in his life has been with his ex-girlfriend. And I can understand why Trisha would be upset about that.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan. Do you think that him and his ex-girlfriend will get back together?
I think that there's a strong chance that they could, because if he does not want to block her, because, I don't know if I believe that this ex-girlfriend is the mother of his children. Like, I just have a hard time believing that, because I don't see Rick as a truth teller. So it would not surprise me if Rick ended up getting back with his ex-girlfriend. That would not surprise me whatsoever. Auntie Robin has another comment down here. She says, can we please address the fact that the last week, Beer Khan told Laura not to come back to the apartment that she is playing back to the apartment that she is paying for. You know what? Beer Khan is he's just as you said, Auntie Robin. He is a sort of kind of a drama queen. Like, he's sort of kind of like come from a soap opera, and Beer Khan is going to be Beer Khan. I actually like Beer Khan, so I did not mind that he told Laura that she couldn't come back to the apartment that she was paying for. But Beer Khan is who he is. I'm rooting for Beer Khan personally, Robin. But as I was saying, and Robin has another comment here down here, so let me read it before I move on with what I have to say about Beer Khan. She says Beer Khan is very, very young. He is very young. I'm still at a loss, because old girl never met his family. That's right. only a few of his friends in quotation marks. What is he hiding? That is very true. And you know what? It's surprising to me that Laura never showed any interest in meeting any of his family. They never had a conversation about his family. That was never a topic of discussion. So everything with Laura and Beer Khan to me is extremely surface. It's
Uh,
very surface like. And for them to get engaged at the surface point of their relationship, I think is a mistake to me. I personally don't expect it to work out. However, I do believe with Beer Khan proposing to Laura, I don't know if it was coming from if his decision to propose to her was due to pressure from production to do it, or if he did it on his own accord. However, whatever the case might be, this led me
mm,
to believe that I really do think that Beer Khan does care for Laura. I really do think that he does love Laura, and I don't think that he's with Laura just to get over to America. I don't believe that because he hasn't even asked her for money at all. So I do believe that Beer Khan is in
but
this
you know,
relationship
but
for the right reasons. Go ahead, Dustin.
you do know the saying: when you get married, his debt becomes her debt. Mm-hmm.
That's true. And
It
Laura's,
depends. Mhm.
and clearly with Laura accepting the proposal, she's willing to take on that debt herself. So, that's
Right.
Laura's decision. She's decided to do it. So, she knows what comes with marrying
It
someone
just kind of
that
shocked me. It kind of shocked me, to be honest, because as you know, Johnson, as we've seen in the season, so in the beginning, she had she had a big issue with his debt. Well,
right.
if you have a big issue with your debt, when you say you're going to get married to somebody, it becomes your debt as well.
Right. Auntie Robin says down in the comments, Laura isn't interested in anything outside of what we have seen because she is blinded by the idea of them being in love. Exactly. I don't think that Laura is necessarily being realistic about their situation or about their relationship in general. I think that Laura lives in a continuous state of fantasy with Bir Khan. He's a beautiful man. I mean, he's very attractive, at least in my eyes. And she sees him in that way, and she wants to be swept off her feet by this beautiful man. And I get that. When you want to live in a fantasy world, however, that's not necessarily the smartest thing to do, especially with a woman of Laura's age. Um,
Hmm.
you would think that she would be more logical with her decision making, but Laura is who she is, and she makes the decisions that she makes. So that's Laura's decision. Auntie Robin also says Bir Khan hasn't asked her for money because he has subsidized subsisted via his gambling winnings. That is very true. But typically when we're dealing with scammers, scammers will always ask for money. And Beer Khan hasn't asked for money, so that's why I'm thinking that Beer Khan does actually care for Laura genuinely. Auntie Robin also says fantasy. Yes, she spoke of her affinity for romantic novels, absolutely, and it's the dirty romantic novels that she's. I don't know if I'd say romantic. I think I'd say erotic novels because that's how she introduced herself to us on the show. But Dustin, were you surprised that Beer Khan proposed to Laura? And when we saw the preview for the tell all, there was a little bit of friction between Laura and Michael that they hadn't seen each other in a while. So, what are your thoughts on the proposal, and how do you think this is going to affect her relationship with Michael?
Well, I think the relationship with Michael is already in jeopardy. Already not in very good condition. Already not very good place.
Right.
I seen some things with the preview for the tell all, and I seen some things that kind of told me that they're basically no longer friends. Um, or they're not where they used to be um, because of, as you know, him. So I don't think that their friendship is no longer. Um,
Mm,
I kind of got that feeling from the preview to the tell all. Hmm.
right. Yeah. And were you surprised that Beer Khan actually proposed to Laura? Because I was
Right.
shocked.
Yes, I was surprised. I didn't expect it to be this soon.
Absolutely. And for them to just be getting back on the good foot, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens at the tell all. Auntie Robin also says he doesn't ask. ask for money now, so he doesn't seem a financial burden. When and if he comes to America, she will be footing the bill. Exactly, Auntie Robin. And I just hope that she understands that, because when he comes over to America, he won't be able to work. He won't be able to make his own money,
and
at least
and
legally.
she
He won't be
and,
able to.
and she's a and she's going to be in charge of him for 10 years. For
Right.
that's a long time. We're talking about 10 years of your life that you're going to be in charge of him. If you come up on the 90-day fiance visa, what you call it. And that brings another topic up for me. Do you think I think we're going to see them again on another a regular 90-day fiance in the future? Hmm.
I would agree with that, Dustin, and I would not be looking forward to that whatsoever. Whatsoever. With the fact that I really don't like Laura, and the way that she treated Bear Khan, bringing Michael over, even though she knew that he wouldn't want him to be there, totally disrespecting his wishes. Like, I can't, I don't want to see her again. But finally, let's move on to our three couples who are no longer together. Let's start off with Elise and Joshua. So, Elise and Joshua start out the episode, and Elise said that he stopped sharing his location with her. He just left the house. On her last night, she just wanted it to be her and him. He actually brought some girls and some of his other friends over to the apartment that he's renting out for the time being. And Elise is just in shambles. Let's see here. Auntie Robin says, "Hey to Lady Virgo and everyone. Thank you so much for that greeting, Auntie Robin." So, needless to say, when they get to the airport, Elise is she's not feeling in the best of spirits concerning their relationship. She doesn't know if it's going to work out. She says that she doesn't trust him. Um, I don't understand where Elise is coming from, because Joshua honestly has done nothing wrong this season. Maybe besides the fact that he lied about where he was living. I guess that's one thing that he's done wrong. But other than that, Joshua hasn't done anything wrong towards Elise whatsoever this entire season. And for Elise to be acting the way that she's acting, that leads me to believe that she never felt anything for Joshua, not anything solid for Joshua, as in wanting to be in a meaningful, healthy relationship long term with him, even getting to the point of possibly getting married one day. That leads
Right.
me to believe that that's not the case. So Elise eventually breaks up with Joshua right there in the airport. She says that she doesn't think it's going to work out for them. And Joshua says, well, if that's the decision you want to make, then, so be it. Joshua's not fighting for their relationship, because I feel as though Joshua sees their relationship for what it is. It's just a good time. It's just a right now type of thing. It's not a future type of thing. It's not a we'll be together forever type of thing. Joshua sees what it is. And Elise is saying all these things to make it seem as though she wants it to last forever, but her actions make it seem as though she just wants a good time, or she's just kind of in limbo. I don't think Elise really knows what she wants, if she wants to actually settle down, or if she wants just something that's good for now. And Elise is shocked to us in the confessional, saying that she doesn't know, if he loved her the way that he said that he loved her, then he would try to fight for their relationship. But if he fought for the relationship, Elise, would you have given it another chance? Because I don't believe that she would have at
I don't
all.
think she would either.
Auntie Robin says down in the comments, the send off, Joshua don't give a real damn about Elise. I do think that he cares for Elise, Auntie Robin. I just don't think that he's like in love with Elise. I think that he accepts her for who she is and how she presents herself to us, the viewers. But I don't think that he's living in a fantasy world like Laura, thinking that they were going to stay together forever. He knew exactly what was going on, and especially with that blow up that Elise had at the bar, I think that's when Joshua truly understood that there's a good possibility that they're not going to be able to work out. Auntie Robin says
Well,
also,
I think what happened with this couple is it kind of red flagged me when they brought her in at the middle of the season.
hmm,
Um, it just kind of brought me to another point. I didn't think it was gonna last because I didn't really like Elise anyway, to be honest. Uh, on for love or on you know what I mean. So I
right.
just kind of got that feeling from her to begin from the beginning, I hope that she finds love. I hope she's happy. But I think she needs to make some changes, Jonathan.
If she
Um,
wants to, if she truly genuinely wants to be in a meaningful, healthy relationship, she does have to do a lot of changing, Dustin. I do agree with that. But she
right.
just got to get to that place in her life, and she's just not at that place. And that's the main thing that frustrates me about watching 90 Day Fiance is because when I watch 90 Day Fiance, I expect to see couples who are committed to one another and not just in limbo, not in do I want a relationship, a real relationship, healthy relationship, or do I just want something that's good for just what I'm doing now? So
Right.
Elise has got some growing to do. I just don't like her for the show because I don't think she genuinely wants a meaningful, healthy, long-term relationship, and that's what I expect to see here on 90 Day Fiance. Auntie
Mhm.
Robin says also exactly what did Elise mean when she said that Josh invited people over to party on her last night. I think Elise meant exactly what she said, Auntie Robin, that he just invited people over to have a good time. I don't know why he made that decision. He didn't necessarily explain why he made that decision or why he wanted people over for her last night. But I mean, that's just what happened. I'm assuming. Auntie Robin also says, I don't believe that Elise has real feelings for Josh. She does seem to like being on TV. On TV, though, I agree with that, Auntie Robin. Notice
She
that
wants
she
that
put
money.
on the likes of a fashion show all season. Exactly, wearing those two top-looking tops that barely covered all her breasts. Anyways, also Auntie Robin says, Dustin, I saw something online that shocked me. It was a video of Stig. Oh my gosh! Wow. Could you
Yeah, I seen that.
elaborate?
I seen that. Enter Robin. I seen that. That was at the. It was at the very end of the show. I seen it. They showed it on the show. They're no
Okay.
longer together. They're no longer together. They broke up, and he's with somebody else now. Mhm.
Okay. So Dustin, we'll get to Aviva and Stig a little bit later. I think that'll be the next couple that we talk about. But what are your thoughts on the fact that Elise broke it off with Joshua? Do you think that Elise actually had true feelings for Joshua? Because it seemed like Joshua had true feelings for Elise. I don't think he was
Well,
in love with
I
her, but I do think he cared about her.
I don't think he. I don't think. I think that he cared about her, but I don't think she cared. I don't think she had a deep. I don't think she was. She met it. To be honest, I think that she was just doing it for the show.
Right. Were you surprised that she broke up with him at the airport? Because I was shocked.
No.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha. So let's move on. Since you brought it up, Auntie Robin, we'll move on to Aviva and Stig. So the only thing that we saw with Aviva and Stig was Aviva coming back for a confessional. She says that she sent some Stig actually came to America. They went to Las Vegas. They had a lot of fun. And then when he went back to Belize, which is where he's from, she got a text message and she was like, well, I see where this is going. It seems like you just want to break up with me, so why don't you just break up with me? And Stig just did exactly that. He broke up with Aviva. Now we saw in the tell-all, or in the preview of the tell-all rather, that Stig is alleging that Aviva did cheat on him. So we'll get to the bottom of that when we get to the tell-all next week. But
Yes.
Aviva is very crushed by this. I am, however, happy that they're no longer together. Although I don't see Aviva as a bad person per se, I did not really believe in her sincerity as it pertains to her status with Stig. I didn't see her being like in love with him like that. I think that it was like more lust than anything. But to me, I didn't see love between them. I feel like Stig had more love for Aviva than Aviva had for Stig, to be honest. I think that Aviva just wanted to have fun with Stig, which I would assume that that's what Stig would have wanted to do anyways. But he did propose to her, but the proposal,
Mhm.
or rather the engagement, is off now. Auntie Robin says, no, Dustin, it was worse. It included him performing a raunchy diss rap video.
Yeah, I seen the video. I
Wow.
watched the video. I seen the video.
Okay.
I seen
Wow.
it.
Auntie Robin, if you could send that to me on Instagram, if that's possible, I would love to see it if you could. Um, but yeah, so Stig and Aviva are not together anymore. Dustin, were you surprised by this new revelation that they're no longer together. I was happy that they broke up, but how did you feel?
I'm happy for Stig. I'm not. I'm happy because I think he deserves better. I
Hmm.
don't really like Aviva, and I don't really have a feeling about Aviva, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't really. I never did like Aviva from episode one. I
Mm.
I don't like her. That's just me. I'm sorry if I upset anybody by saying that, but that's how I feel.
It's how you feel. Yeah.
I don't like her. Don't like
Yeah.
her.
I could never get a good feeling on who Aviva was as a person. She just kind of seemed extremely vague to me. She didn't seem to really have her own identity, which
All
was
right.
hard for me to kind of accept. Auntie Robin says, "Sure, Joe Nathan, I'll find it in my YT history." Okay, cool beans. Thank you so much, Auntie Robin. I really appreciate it. But
Send it to me as
I
well, Aunt Robin, if you want to.
like I said, I don't think that Aviva's a bad person per se. It's
Sure.
just that I couldn't get like any real connection with her. Like I felt like I had a connection with Rick because I see a lot of myself in Rick. I feel like I had a connection with Jovan because he seems so sweet, and I really saw that in him. But with Aviva, like she's just so nothing. Like I saw nothing in Aviva,
Uh,
like
I
blank
think
face.
I think Aviva I think that Aviva did this show for the money. Um, I think she signed the contract for getting the money, and turned out to be what it was. Mhm.
Yeah, we can allege anything that we want about the participants, but I don't
Uh,
know why she did the show either. But it is what it is. I'm just happy that her and Stig are no longer together. Because with her just wanting to get pregnant all willy nilly with no plan or anything of that nature, that was a red flag to me for sure. Auntie Robin says the issue with Aviva is that she is not personally defined. Exactly. That's what. Thank you for putting those words out there, Auntie Robin, because that's what I meant by vague. Like you really can't get a sense of her true personality, who she truly is at her core. We see who almost everyone is this season, but Aviva is so. She's. I can't really explain it, but it's just hard to. It's just hard to really pinpoint who she is as a person, and it's hard to connect that way. And I saw who Stig was as a person. He's a fun-loving guy. He loves his fans. He loves Aviva. You know what I'm saying? He has an awesome personality. He seems to be fun to be around. Like, we get that about Stig, but Aviva is just this, white girl with a big booty. Like, there's no substance. There was no substance to Aviva. And that's what frustrated me most about watching Aviva this season. But we'll see what happens. See if she gets at least vocal during the tell-all, because she really wasn't that vocal during the season. She really wasn't that expressive during the season. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of Aviva during the tell-all. But let's move on to our last couple of this
yeah.
finale review, which is Lisa and Daniel. So Lisa's back at home with her daughter. She's got a new blonde wig. She looks beautiful. And it turns out that Lisa had her daughter. Daniel actually, I was asking this question last week. How did Lisa get access to Daniel's email? Well, she revealed during this episode that Daniel gave her the password to his email address. And so that's the way he was able to gain access to, or her daughter was able to gain access to his email account. And so hold on. Auntie Robin has another comment down here. Auntie Robin says Aviva is a modernization of the barefoot, stay at home and pregnant woman. Absolutely, and I think that was her goal, and I think that's why she wanted to get pregnant so bad, because that's who she wanted to be. She wants to be the stay at home mom, who doesn't work, just takes care of the kids, and she just wants to be a mother, and that's cool if that's what you and your partner want for the both of you. But I don't think her and Stick had any of those types of conversations to address what their future looked like. And when you're in a mature type of relationship, you've got to have those in any type of relationship. Rather, you have to have those conversations. So Lisa's daughter was able to gain access to Daniel's email account, and he saw that Daniel had someone listed under his contacts as wife. And they reached out to this woman, using the phone number that they saw in his contacts. And she did confirm that she knew who Daniel was, but she didn't go any further than that. She told them to lose her number. So she didn't confirm who she was actually to Daniel, what type of relationship she had with Daniel. So excuse me, Lisa says that Daniel really has not been contacting her that much recently. I'm assuming that might be because she hasn't been giving him money like she used to. But I don't know the real reason why he wasn't contacting her. However, Lisa wants to confront Daniel about this new revelation about this woman in his phone as wife. Auntie Robin says down in the comments, I don't believe that Daniel slipped up by providing Lisa with his passwords. In the end, I don't believe that he thinks she is worth it. Oh wow! So he threw the line out to hook another fish. That might be the case. I don't know why he would have made that decision if he did make that decision, Auntie Robin. But it is what it is. Hold on, let me read this comment one more time. I don't believe Daniel slipped up. Yeah, I don't believe he slipped up either. Lisa, his passwords and the end. I don't believe that he thinks she is worth it. Yeah, I completely agree with that, Auntie Robin, for sure. So Lisa gets a call from Daniel. He calls her beautiful as soon as she gets onto the phone. He said he likes her wig, very nice to her. She was driving when he called her. So she parked in her driveway, she got out of the car, and she asked him, why haven't you been contacting me? Why haven't you been in touch with me? I don't know if it was production who encouraged Daniel to FaceTime her or whatever the case might be, but he did it anyways. And so she confronts him with this evidence that he has a woman in his contacts listed as wife. I don't know if this was done purposefully for Lisa to find in order for her to break up with him. I think that's what you might have been alluding to, Auntie Robin. And that makes it easy for him to be able to just get off, not scotch free, but just to get off without him having to break up their relationship. But Daniel denies all of her allegations, and he said, you keep throwing these allegations towards me, and none of it is true. And he told her to send him the evidence. Now, I don't know if she actually sent him the screenshots while they were on the phone, because it seemed like that's what she would have wanted to do. At least that's what I would have done, because you can look at other things in your phone. I don't know if you can do that while you're on FaceTime, but I know that you can do that
You
while you're on a
can.
phone call. Oh, okay, all right, thank you. Because I'm not an Apple guy, I'm a Samsung guy. You know what I'm saying? I had one iPhone.
I'm Apple all the way.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I
Apple
had
all the
one
way.
iPhone, but ever since then I've been Samsung all the way. But anyway, so Daniel continues to deny that there's this other woman in his life, and Lisa. At the end of the day, Lisa breaks it off with Daniel. She told him that she's never going to call him again. She never wants to talk to him again. Of course, they'll eventually talk to each other at the tell-all. Not sure exactly how that's going to go, but we'll see what happens when we get to the tell-all. But Lisa and Daniel are broken up, and I am happy that they're broken up.
I
I
am too.
can't say how. I don't know if I can really define what their relationship
Well,
was.
I want to
Be-
say, I want to say so. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Go
but
ahead.
I want to say, if I want the best for all of these for all of these people on this show. I want the
Hmm.
best for all the people who was involved in this season. But I think I think that they could find some better people. That's just my opinion. They can find better people, but you know, I think that especially Lisa. Lisa. I think she deserves better. I think all these couples deserve to be happy and to be loved and to be in a better place. You know what I mean? And I
Hmm.
think that I think I think we'll see Lisa again on
Probably.
on other shows, especially.
Unfortunately.
Hmm. Right. I think we will see her again.
Yeah. So by better people, do you mean people who like genuinely want to be in a relationships, who don't treat their
Right.
partners like shit? Yeah, I
Right.
agree with that. Now, I don't know exactly how good that will make the show, especially for people who are used to watching 90 Day Fiance and are fans of the show and come back to the show season after season, because they pretty much give us the
Well,
same
see,
thing
90
all
Day
the time.
Fiance used to be better in the earlier days, but
Okay, okay.
they used to be more like in the earlier when 90 Day Fiance first began. It used to be a lot more easier to figure out the couples. But these couples here, especially this season, has really been a rough season. Mhm.
I've actually still, I will still say that I did enjoy this season more than I've enjoyed any other season that I've seen.
Yeah, I
Um,
have too. But I'm
y-
just saying. I'm just saying they
yeah,
get more. They get more crazy. More couples more get more weird to me, and you know what I mean.
yeah, absolutely. I definitely get that for sure. So Auntie Robin says down in the comments, a quick comment about the trailer for the tell all. Talk about glow ups, Lisa and Laura. Enough said, sort of. Yeah, Lisa and Laura did look great in the tell all preview. Lisa had her natural hair out. I love seeing that she's standing in her truth as far as her hair is concerned. Laura
Yes.
looked amazing. Like her hair was done up. Like her hair was the best that I've ever seen her hair before. Auntie Robin says, Joe Nathan, like Dustin said, that's how the couples used to be. They faced plenty of adversity. Okay, all right, cool beans. I'll probably have to go back to one of the earlier seasons of 90 Day Fiance because my mom actually used to watch the show religiously, but she eventually stopped watching it. I don't know if it's because of what Dustin said, like the people sort of started getting worse and worse as the seasons went on.
Right.
I get that. Auntie Robin also says this season has been better than the last few. I would agree with that, Auntie Robin. This has been my favorite season to review so far since I've started reviewing 90 Day Fiance with the Juice Radio and Talk Show. So I was overall I was happy with this season for sure. Um,
Right.
things
I
turned
was
out
too,
the
but
way.
I just I'm happy with the season. I'm happy to see the new season premiere on May 10th. You know, I hope we have.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see what it what it, what it, what it holds and what the future holds for 90 Day Fiance. But I'm just saying, I miss the old days, Jonathan. I really do. Um, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I get it. I definitely get that for sure. So I'm proud of Lisa for standing up for herself. I'm proud of her for because I think Lisa might have known that Daniel may not have been genuinely romantically attracted to her, but because he was playing the game the way that scammers play it, she was going to go along with it. But she's not going to respect being cheated on, and I respect that, and I appreciate that coming from Lisa. So Dustin, were you surprised that Lisa broke up with Daniel, and do you think that she was telling the truth when she said that she saw a woman in his contacts labeled wife?
I think she was.
I think so too.
I Lisa don't give me a reason that she lied. I don't like liars, Jonathan. I don't like liars at all.
Yeah.
Um, she don't give me a reason that she's not a liar. But I get the feeling that is Daniel is a liar. To be honest, I get the feeling that he's a big liar. Uh,
Yeah.
he
Were
don't
you
seem to.
surprised that she broke up with Daniel?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't surprised either. Like I said, I
I
was very
could see
proud
the
of
change.
Lisa.
Mhm.
What was that? What was the last thing you said, Dustin?
I could see her changing.
Yes, yes. And I feel like she's changing for the better. That interview that you sent me, she seems so light. She seems so happy. She, said that she wasn't wearing the new wig for Daniel. She's wearing it for herself. So I love to see the confidence in Lisa. I love seeing Lisa being confident in herself and confident about her life. So I love that. But yeah, that's all we've got for
Oh,
for this.
If Auntie Roberts in here, she'll tell her to send me the video she's talking about because I want to see the video as well. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, that would be great. Wait, say that one more time, Dustin.
I want to see the video she's talking about. She's talking about the video with Stig and Viva, so I want to see the video. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, if she ends up sending it to me, then I'll just forward it to you, Dustin. Okay.
Okay.
Cool beans. Let's see here. We've got three more comments, and then we'll go ahead and get out of you guys' way. I'm so glad that you guys have decided to join us. All right. Auntie Robin says have yes, and then she says okay. All right, cool beans. Auntie Robin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dustin, why don't you share with the people your social media contacts real quick?
My social media contacts are Dustin Butler. My Facebook is Dustin Butler. My Instagram is Dustin Butler 700. I always want to thank my whole entire team for being here, and love you all very much. Love you, Jonathan. Love you, Tyrone, and love you, Jennifer. I'll be in Jennifer's comments later tonight. So I hope she goes live tonight. But I'll be there.
I do believe that she will be going live tonight. She hasn't told me any different. You guys can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is JoJo_speaks3020. My Facebook is Jonathan Lee. My email is WilliamJonathanLee@gmail.com. My Cash App is $Jonathan Lee 07. That's $JONATHANLEE07. Be sure to join me every Thursday night at 8 p.m. for my live hot topics and social commentary show. I go live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. with my sister Prophetic Fire Reiki, as well as our friend Bianca Edwards. We always have an amazing time talking about the latest happenings and goings on in the world. So be sure to join us every Thursday night at 8 p.m. And as I said at the beginning of the video, be sure to be on the lookout for my reviews of Housewives of Atlanta, as well as RuPaul's Drag Race later on this week by Wednesday at the latest. Love you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next review. Hope you guys have a wonderful, safe week. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.